Hello there everybody, my name is Waddles. I hope you're doing well today. As I'm sure you've noticed, 1.14 has now released. Are you playing in a world that was created before 1.14? And if the answer is yes to that question, I have a follow-up question. Do you have a village in your world that was generated before 1.14? If the answer is yes to both of those questions and you'd like your villagers to stay alive and stay happy, well, then you actually have some work to do. And that work is the focus of today's video. In this video, I'll be going over a few things that you should probably do to your old worlds to make them better fit for the 1.14 Village and Pillage update. The list is admittedly pretty small, but I've put quite a bit of thought into it. With that being said though, if you can think of something else that people should do, throw that in the comments below. And hit that subscribe button if you'd like to stay up to date with what's happening in the Minecraft community. So first and foremost, villagers need beds. Let's start off with the new day-night cycle of the villager. Villagers can now lay in beds at nighttime. The first thing that you should probably do to your old village is run around and get beds in each and every building. You should have one bed for each and every villager. Now, of course, you'll have the old structures, so just place them down really anywhere and the villagers will be happy. Villagers will eventually claim a bed as their own, and the building that bed is in will pretty much become the villager's house. If a raid were to happen and a bell was rung, villagers would make their way back towards their bed, or at least inside of a building. So it's probably just a general good idea to put beds in every house in the village. Next, you may notice that your villagers don't really have a profession anymore. Well, that's because your old village doesn't have any profession blocks inside of it. As of 1.14, villagers will need one of the workstation blocks to actually have a job. They will also need access to their workstation block to refill their trades. The workstation blocks are listed on screen now. You should probably go around through the village and add a workstation in each and every house. It doesn't really matter what you decide to put in each house so long as there are workstations for every villager. Bonus points if you can manage to actually match up some of the houses to what workstation they would have. This would be pretty difficult to do though, considering the fact that these old buildings are pretty plain. There isn't much of any significance for most of the buildings. They're literally just random small houses or medium houses. Workstations do not necessarily need to be inside a building though. If you have some farming areas, maybe throw an extra composter on each of those. Farmer villagers are a thing after all, and they work at the composter. Be careful about your workstation placements because you don't want to accidentally trap villagers inside of buildings. That probably just wouldn't be a good thing, and at the least, it's not very nice. So maybe some workstations should just be set down outside of a building. But just like you did with the bed, it would be a pretty good idea to run around the village and place workstations in each and every building. Eventually, after getting your workstations in, you should notice the villagers around the town actually claiming some of these sites as their own and having jobs again. Once the villagers actually have jobs again, you can, of course, trade with them. If you happen to have villagers in your town that just aren't claiming a workstation for some reason, you could do one of two things. The first thing that you could do is simply wait. Villagers need to be within a certain radius of a workstation to actually detect it, so these villagers out there that are just kind of standing and staring at each other romantically could never detect the extra workstations over here. This village should have more than enough workstations for everyone, so eventually, as these villagers wander back towards the town, they should notice the stations and claim them. The other thing that you could do is place workstations around villagers that are farther out. The problem with this, however, is the fact that the villager will actually come back to this workstation to work. So this cartographer will actually come all the way out here to this table to do its job, and that might not be something you want because this isn't really the town anymore. The town is over there. I lied. There's a third solution. There's such a thing, boats in Minecraft, and if you can manage to get some villagers inside of a boat, then you could actually row the villagers over to the workstations. Excuse me, I need you out of my boat. So this guy refuses to work, and I will forcibly move him over to a workstation. Once you row the villager close enough to the workstation, it should detect it and then claim it as its own, just like that farmer did there. You may want to remove the boat afterwards so the villager can actually move around. So you're happy with all of your villagers' jobs. What's the next thing that you should do? Well, in the old Minecraft villages, some buildings didn't have doors. That's probably a bad thing. It would be a good idea to run around your town and make sure each and every house that has a bed and a workstation inside of it or near it has a door. Villagers will go inside at nighttime and will go inside to avoid the nasty creatures that come with raids. The next thing that you may want to do has to do with an uncraftable item. You will need to raid other villages if you're hoping to do this in your village. Bells can be placed strategically around the town to send villagers inside when there are bad things happening. If a villager is near a bell when it is rung, it will try and run back to its home and hopefully stay indoors. This does not always happen though, as the villagers just are anxious people and they will run inside and outside. Depending on how big your town is, you may need more than one bell. Watch your villagers a little bit and place bells where they seem to go the most. One of the best spots for a bell would probably be at a crossroad in your village. So all of your villagers have jobs, they have beds, doors on everything, bells in the town if you want to do that. What's next? Well, the final thing that you should probably consider doing is defending your village in some way. Patrols can randomly spawn around your world. This can of course even happen while you're underground or just not looking at the village. And it just so happens that the creatures inside of patrols absolutely hate villagers for some reason and will try to kill them. So it's really not a bad idea to build a wall around your town or even some sort of berry bush moat. Berry bushes are actually surprisingly effective at stopping hostile mobs because they, of course, 1, slow creatures down, and 2, will damage creatures that are moving around inside of them. Setting up some basic defenses around your town will also help when it comes to raids. If you're looking to take on some of those brand new fancy raids and maybe come out of the thing with a few new Totem of Undyings, well, setting up some village defenses will definitely help. The raid AI is good, but when presented with a wall, raid members will often just stand against the thing. If you decide to set up some sort of defense system around your town, just keep in mind that villagers are not always the smartest creatures in the game. If you choose to use a defense like a lava moat with trapdoors or berry bushes, villagers could wander into those things and accidentally kill themselves. To help prevent those kinds of accidents, maybe put some space in between your defense and your buildings. And of course, if you don't like to build things, well, then just dig. Just dig some kind of moat or something around your town. But I think that's just about it. Those are the main things that you should probably do to your old villages to make them shiny and new again. If I missed something, definitely drop it down in the comments below. If you liked this video, drop a like, hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet, and if you love what I do, maybe consider becoming a channel member or a patron today. There are some pretty cool benefits for becoming either one of those. I am Waddles, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time. Goodbye, everybody.